This is Moments with Mary, and my guest today is our new town manager, Mr. Justin Casanova-Davis. Thank you for being on the podcast.
Thanks for having me, Mary.
I appreciate it. So we're going to start with the beginning of your education. So you attended Boston College, and you got a BA in political science.
Yep, I got a BA in political science, so it was a minor in history. I'm a proud double eagle. Boston College education is important to me. I went to BC High as well. I really believe in Jesuit education, so it was a great time, and I'm very proud of my roots at Boston College.
Were you thinking about going into politics?
Yeah. It's interesting. I was never really interested in government until high school. I had a great government teacher, and it really intrigued me in trying to help people. I've always been public service is really important to me. My mom's a nurse. My father was in the military, police officer. So I've always really believed in helping people. I initially thought I wanted to run for office. I wanted to go to law school. So I was planning to do that. And then, later on in my life, as I was studying for LSAT, I had an opportunity to do an internship in the city of Cambridge where I was living at that time. And it was in the budget office, participatory budgeting. And it really opened my eyes that, hey, I really like being at the local government level. I like to see the work that I'm doing. I worked at the State House for a little period. And, it was an honor to work there. I was one of the very small group of first-time analysts that got some piece of new legislation passed in the budget. I got, recognized by our House Ways and Means chairman and the speaker. But, what really touched me was I couldn't see that impact because I was at the State House.
Yeah.
I really wanted to see the work that I was doing. So really local government has sort of been my passion since, City of Cambridge and so on.
So when we talk about that, where you started, so you worked in a couple cities before coming here.
Yep. I worked in the City of Cambridge. I worked in the town of Brookline. In the City of Cambridge, I was a principal budget analyst, and that program that I mentioned before, I ended up running it for the city. And then I went to the town of Brookline, where I became the assistant town administrator, and I stayed there for 4 years. And then my final year, I also served as the acting finance director and treasurer collector, too. And then I transitioned to the town of Norfolk, and I was the town administrator there for 3 years.
Okay, so it's, a lot of people have the background, but you actually have 6 recognitions for what you did. You awarded stuff for your finance, which I found pretty interesting. This is the one that was, they're very impressive, but I figured I'd just read one rather than 6 because I thought this was pretty cool that you got recognized for the FY19 City of Cambridge budget. You're the first and only time the city has been awarded this designation, and the only time our city in the Commonwealth to earn that. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, we're proud of that. I've always had a high level. I set a high standard of excellence for myself. I'm a hard worker, but that office is a budget team, and I always look at these awards. And I've been privileged to be recognized for some of the work that we've done, but I look at it as a team. One of the things that my budget director in Cambridge really believed in was allowing people to take their own initiative on things. And I saw an opportunity for us to do some more work. Our city manager and our budget director wanted to see more performance measurement and see how our work is actually impacting the community.
Yeah.
So they had us really work with our departments on putting, performance measurements and standards and matrices together. And collaboratively, we were able to do that work, and we got recognized for that work.
Well, that's
so
pretty cool.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between, because all our residents would like to know that between a town administrator and a town manager?
Yeah, it's a good question because I think there's so many nuances to that question.
Yes.
The simple generalized version of it, a town manager tends to have a little more autonomy and authority than a town administrator. A town administrator generally is operating under direct oversight of a board of selectmen or select board. But if you dive into it, each community, each place, they have unique charters, they have special acts and different things that empower a town manager or a town administrator to do some things. You can have a town administrator that really is operating sort of like an executive secretary, where they don't have authority to appoint department heads or do any changes with personnel. You could have a town administrator that might have even more authority than a town manager in some cases. It really depends, but I generally say in our form of government, which was similar to what City of Cambridge had in my time there, it's definitely a little more autonomy and authority on personnel issues, budget issues. It's a town manager budget. For example, in comparison, town of Norfolk, I worked on the budget, I presented, but it wasn't my budget. It was the select board. The select board, if they said, hey, I want you to change this number to this number, I would have to do that.
Yeah.
But it varies by community is what I would say.
So when you were a town administrator, did you have a contract or were you an employee?
Yeah, I had a contract.
Was it for 3 years?
Yes. So typically in Massachusetts, for town administrators, town managers, they generally have contracts. I think your question is if 3 years versus 5 years and so on like
Yeah.
that. I'm a member of the International City Managers Association. I'm really proud of that. And generally you see 3-year contracts or 5-year contracts. And the reason why is because in the ICMA, our code of ethics, they actually say you should do a minimum of 2 years to even have adequate impact in a local government. So the longer contract, it generally gives you the ability to build relationships and have a positive impact on a community. So, yeah.
Yeah, because I can imagine. I mean, it must be hard to have a 3-year contract when you have a family to support, because you don't know. I mean, you have an idea whether the town likes you or not, but that's kind of difficult. Every 3 years, you're like, okay, am I here? Am I looking around?
It's definitely been different for me to have a contract. I believe in the work that I do. I've been very fortunate in the communities that I've been and the relationships that I've built. I've never felt concerned about having a 3-year contract. I think my work speaks for itself. I think generally by having a contract that is sort of a standard in the Massachusetts Municipal Association or the ICMA, it says, hey, give some notice. And so there's a 6-month noticing period in these 3-year contracts, so not too concerned. I'm in a fortunate situation. I hope to be here in Bridgewater for a long time, so 3-year, 5-year.
Yeah, from what I see, I think you will, and I can understand that 6 months. You should, because I mean that's a big. That all of a sudden if you're the main income, that's a huge difference. So there's a couple big issues that you walked into.
Yeah,
the budget's one. I think you did a good job. You held the line for us. So what did you think about the budget when you walked in?
I think you can attest to this because you were part of the screening committee. I did a lot of homework on Bridgewater. I didn't make the decision to come to Bridgewater lightly. I thought it was a great opportunity. So I was attuned to what was going on with the budget. Obviously was watching whether the override would pass or not. But the day before I started, I know the council said we're going to have an increased assessment. So I get in here and I was like, all right, we got to find $850,000. I would say, a good partnership with our team overall, but obviously with Lori Guarini, our finance director.
Yeah.
We were looking at opportunities to be responsible, but also on my end, when I'm looking at this, I like to make holistic decisions and not rash decisions. Just coming in 2 weeks, I thought that we could hold the line on some of our positions, but I also needed some time to evaluate and make the correct decision. So I felt very comfortable with the appropriation order that we presented to the council. I feel like we explained it well, and apparently the council agreed with that as well. So
yeah, I always hear good about our finance department, that they're very supportive. They do a lot of work. Every time I've asked questions, they're done really good. So now we have the water.
I have to agree. Before we go to water, I have to agree with that. We have a great team. I'm proud of our team. So I agree with what you said there.
Yeah, me too. And I also appreciate that it was fun to watch when you came to the meet and greet at the seniors, that you knew people's names because you did watch the town council. That was very impressive. I've noticed the difference between different town managers and you. Your leadership is very community oriented, and you get to know the people. So that was one of the ways I voted for you too.
Well, thank you. Yeah. I think and it's sort of doubling back to your question about town manager, town administrator. I always operate under the sort of modus operandi that we're here to serve people. I'm here to work with people. I'm here to help people, and it's a people-oriented business, and that's how I look at it. So you have to build relationships. They're important to me. I don't just say it for lip service. It's just who I am, and throughout my career, even beyond my career in municipal government, that's who I've been. People are important to me.
I think people look at it to serve people as a weakness, but it really isn't. It's a strength to be able to do that and to get along with everybody and lead. Yeah. So, that's impressive. So the other huge one we have is the water.
Yeah.
A never-ending battle.
It's definitely a tough issue, and we've got a lot of work to do regarding that, especially for the town. But, I've got to emphasize, this is not unique to Bridgewater. A lot of communities, not only in Massachusetts, but nationwide, are grappling with water issues. And part of that issue is water and sewer, they're not a main event issue. It's not like the schools. Yeah. It's not like, your senior center or things that are visible, but they're so important to the lifeblood of a community. You can grow responsibly with water and sewer capacity. What I often say with municipal government, and I think this is our weakness, is we tend to be reactive and not strategic enough.
totally agree with
And
that.
so, especially with an issue like water, we allow issues to creep up, and then they hit us all in one moment of time.
Yeah.
So I really think it's about being strategic. It's about having a plan and executing that plan, utilizing the resources available to us. So here in Bridgewater, for example, in the forthcoming months, I want to come to the to the council and have a presentation that's clear and concise. And I know we've had multiple presentations on water, but I really want to focus on being clear and concise. Talk about issues that we have, talk about water capacity, and talk about our plan to address them in timelines. So we can just be simple and people can find this information on our website and even refer back to the videos of what our plan is, but also the challenges as well, because there are challenges and they're largely based around revenue and funds.
That's a huge one. I think, being clear and telling people is important. You got to bring it down because, like the water department can talk, but if you don't know the terms, like anything, you don't understand. So that would be a very impressive thing for the residents. They'd be happy about that because it is difficult because, I have to do a lot of homework after listening to someone or even before because I don't know the terms. Like when you learn a computer, you got to learn all the term.
I think that's really important. And I'm going to double this back to the budget, for example. So I've been recognized a bit for the work that I've done. And I think that's one of the reasons why is because I like to say we need to simplify things a bit. I didn't go to Boston College for a math degree. I'm very good at budgeting because I've dived into it, but I've also tried to make these terms like Prop 2.5 and all these different things, these lingos and jargons that finance professionals can understand. Yeah. For the public that isn't able to come to all the meetings or read all the books about this, it's not really understandable. We have to break this down and make it a little bit simpler to understand. And I think that's what I've done throughout my career, particularly budgeting, and that's what we've got to do with the challenges that we face. Simplify them, be clear, concise, and just execute.
I think you've done that so far. You've helped, even when you're speaking at the town council. So I know you've watched Bridgewater a lot, but what surprised you that you didn't know about us? You got a list? No.
No. I did a lot of homework. I wouldn't say I was surprised by anything. I was really excited about coming to Bridgewater because I knew there was a lot of opportunities, just like there are challenges. I knew that we had an engaged group of residents. I think, and I wouldn't say surprised, but what I'm pleasantly experienced is there a lot of people care, right? So yes, there's angst about some issues that we may have. There may be disagreements on how we resolve some of these issues. But what I take solace in and what I appreciate is that people care. Because if you care about your community, even if we disagree, we're trying to work to better the community.
You can see on Facebook a lot of people care.
I try to stay away from Facebook, but I know a lot of people care.
I read it all, and everyone's going to agree or disagree, but I can see the passion, though.
Yeah,
they are passionate about it. So you've already met with the BSU president, Mr. Clark.
Yep.
So that's great. You started right off with a relationship. How did that go?
It went well. I met with Mr. Clark and his team on campus, and I'm actually going to be going back there in a couple of weeks to do a tour. I really believe, like I mentioned before, building relationships is important. That's how you get deals done. That's how you move a community and organization forward. So I want to really establish that relationship built on trust and collaboration. So Mr. Clark has been a pleasure to meet with so far. I've asked him to come to a council meeting. Mr. Clark and BSU do provide a gift donation to the town. There's a lot of collaboration with our departments in BSU. Yeah. I really think residents need to understand that work, realize opportunities for that work, and enhance those opportunities. For example, Fred and I talked about internships are really important to me.
Me too.
And really adding bandwidth and exposure for students to professions in local government. I look at it, like I said before, as a business.
Yeah.
I want to work with the best.
Yeah.
Because when you're working with the best, you got opportunities to be the best as well. So that starts at an early age. That starts, in school, even beyond that, in high school. So I'm looking for opportunities to enhance internships and fellowship opportunities here, along with some other opportunities. So it's been a pleasure working with Fred so far.
I'm glad because I'm big on internships, and we'll get to where I know that you've been a good mentor. But so what's your vision for the center? And when you talked about it at the town council, I was glad to see you brought the fire department and the police, because who knows more about the traffic problems and the things that they face? I mean, I saw like a dump truck. He had to blare his horn the whole entire time because he knew he couldn't stop, and he was going to go into that fire truck. They had to stop. So I think that was a smart move.
So my leadership style is Definitely based around collaborative leadership. I always often say I have a lot of tools in my tool belt,
Yeah.
but we're a team. And, no one knows better how to fight a fire than our fire chief. It's not I or police or DPW.
Yeah.
So I expect them to be a part of this team, to offer their input, and then I'm not afraid to make a decision. I saw early on in Central Square, we've had the news. There's been accidents. There's been fatalities there. I know we're doing a lot of work that's looking long term at that, the Central Square area. But for me, I want to see if there's any opportunities to do some improvements now in the short term to get us to the long term as well, because I
Yeah.
want to make it safer for people. So that's really important to me. And I also reframe the question a little bit in the sense that it's not only my vision for Central Square, it's our vision. Because
Right.
the way that I'm going to look at it is collaborating with the town council, collaborating with our residents. I've actually met with some of the business owners in the downtown area already,
Right.
because it's important to build that collaborative relationship.
Yeah.
In the short term, I hope to make some changes, hopefully to protect people, but then looking at a long-term solution.
Well, I saw you cutting down some branches. That's to get the sunshine in there a little bit.
Well, Sunshine, DPW was doing a really good job
Yeah.
there. And we had some dead trees that needed to be taken care of. And so we're always looking about public safety. It's
Yeah.
really important to our team.
I saw you already making an impact down there. So have you or one of the towns that you worked for used the opioid settlement? Because we haven't touched ours yet.
Yeah. No, I've noticed we haven't touched our opioid funds yet. In Norfolk, we did. I was actually very proud of the work that we were doing in Norfolk. Our select board and we really prioritized. We got the funds, and we wanted to get the funds out as soon as possible to the organizations that were making a difference in our community. Because we look at it as not funds for the town; it's to improve the community that we're working for. So that's something that I know that you're passionate about. I
Yeah.
know there's some residents I've already met with that are passionate about it. I think I'm going to be definitely exploring, looking at maybe having a committee or task force so we can get those funds to use in the community.
Well, that's good because we do need to. So let me see. The residents, they really appreciated that you and your family walked in the 4th of July parade. I believe you're the first town manager to do that, from what I've been told. So you made an impact straight off. It was fun, though, wasn't it?
Interesting. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was fun. It was nice to have my family join me, and not all the time that I get my family get involved with my work, but it was really important to me when I made the transition here at Bridgewater. Community is important to me, and I think it's important for people to see me, get to know me,
Yeah.
and know that I really care about the community. Even though I don't live here, it's really important to me that they
No,
see
I
me. and
think
get to
it's
see
good that you brought your family. We know you. We want to know your family, and you now you're going to be such a part of this. Your family should be part of this. I think it's great. So you've been attending committee meetings already.
Yeah.
How's that going? Keeping busy, I hear.
There's a lot of work to do. We say there isn't a lack of work here to do. It's been great to be able to attend some of our committees. I will say that it's identified a challenge for me as well, because some of those committees I've joined, we weren't even able to have a quorum, right?
Yeah.
And so particularly at this last council meeting and decisions about, volunteers and, changing the application maybe to, get the information that the council needs to allow when people submit an application that they're volunteering their time to the community, we can get them on our boards and commissions. That's important to me. So
Yeah.
I'll definitely be looking at that, trying to see if we can find a way to address some of the concern that some of our council members had.
I go back and forth with the application because we have a citizen advisory and they go through you.
Yeah.
So, I would be like, I don't want everyone to see my resume in a way too. But so I kind of go, well, I have to trust my committee and my town manager that you see that they qualified for zoning or planning. So I go back and forth about that. I figure if they filter through you guys, that's what you're there for, then I kind of have to trust. I think we have to learn to trust each other. You know what I mean? That council doesn't have to know everything, because we have to trust our committees. We have to trust our town manager on some things.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think there's an opportunity here to address some of the concern about resumes for council.
Yeah.
But I absolutely agree with you in the sense that, hey, we have another layer of process that a lot of other communities don't have, which is that citizen advisory committee. And I've actually sat in on that committee, and I've seen some of the interviews they have. They're very thoughtful about the work that they do. They're very passionate. They care about the community. They're doing a great job in addition to the information that's being provided on the application to the council. So I think that needs to be factored in.
Yeah.
But I will look at an opportunity to sort of revamp the application, provide more information in that manner, because what I really care about is if someone's willing to volunteer their time to try to improve our community and in the organization. I really value that. And so we
Yeah.
need to give them those opportunities to do that.
I feel the same way. I really do. So you probably know that we're having trouble getting volunteers, and there's some committees, like the affordable housing, water and sewer. We don't have anyone on there.
Yeah.
So how can we? I went to the Autumn Fest with a table. Mr. Dutton helped me. We printed, and Joshua printed up the stuff. But how else can we encourage people? I went to a chamber once where the chamber held in their office all the committees of a town, all boards that you could be on. I don't know if that would be working here, that we could have like an open house, invite residents to come, and we actually have committee members sitting at the table and telling what they do and stuff. I don't know what else to do.
Like I said, I think coming into Bridgewater, I see so many opportunities there, but there's also bandwidth, right? And I don't have assistant town managers just yet, but I see so many opportunities for community engagement and further engagement. Something that I've thought about is having sort of open town hall sort of event. Even in Cambridge and Brookline, we tended to do like little farmers markets or different events, and we'd have different departments come and show up and be able to speak and really interact with the public. So I want to explore opportunities like that. One of the small changes that I did here when I got on board with Josh, who really is our liaison for boards and commissions, once again, something that a lot of other communities don't have either.
Yeah.
So I do want to acknowledge that we do value boards and commissions here in Bridgewater, is one, making sure we're transparent about the vacancies. Like when I was looking online previously, I didn't know what boards and commissions were open or what vacancies are. Now we have an updated list on the website so people can see the vacancies and the openings in the boards and commissions. Once again, looking at the applications, but also being present. I'm not going to be able to go to every single board and committee meeting, but I'm trying to be present, make myself available, know that I care about the work that they're doing. And I think if people see that and they know that their work matters and is of value, then maybe there's more interest to serve as well.
So we talked about bringing some of the committees once a month up to so it's not to tell us what they're working on, but to tell them about themselves, right?
Right, correct. I'm definitely exploring. I've spoken with some of our committees already about opportunities to come to the council. I think it's important to highlight, what they do. They can't specifically speak on what they're working on, but that's something that I think we should be doing a little bit more often than what has happened in the past.
Yeah, I think it will value what they're doing and stuff like that. I try to watch them all after they recorded. So the fire station. So it's almost done.
Yeah.
Have you been inside?
I am scheduled to go in a couple of weeks.
Really?
So
I asked her to, yeah.
Good.
Because, I went there it was very cool and very nice of them that we could sign our names on one of the, I thought that was really, but the fire department, I'm really glad because I've taken a tour of the one on School Street. That's pretty bad. People go, why a new one? That thing is just bad. I give the fire department credit that they've been surviving in that building, so I'm looking forward to that. So, talking about, you served as a mentor at Boston College for graduate students, job shadowing and career development, and also at Suffolk University. Mentorship's very important, isn't it, for young kids?
It's extremely important. It's also another avenue, I think, to give back. I've been very fortunate to have good mentors in my life, and like I said, I really care about this profession. I care about public service, and we need good people doing this work. It's important. As I mentioned before, I'm very proud of the education I have, and Jesuit education is about how we can give back, and it's really important to me to do that.
Yeah. Well, that was on your own time, right?
Yep. And
so that's why I think we need a rec or a Boys and Girls Club, because we don't really have anything in town for students, the youth. But the Boys and Girls Club, I think they have a lot of mentorship more than recs.
Yeah, I think all those there are various organizations, not only the Boys and Girls Club, provide a lot of mentorship opportunities, and I think our children and people in high schools, education, various levels of education is important to provide mentorship opportunities and give them opportunities to grow. For example, like I said before, I was studying to go to law school.
Yeah.
If I didn't have the internship that I did and the mentorship with the budget director at that time, maybe I wouldn't be in this profession. But I'm doing what I love, what I care about. So it's important to me. That's why I always give back. And I'm not only a member of those programs, but also on the Mass Municipal Association. I'm on the finance committee there. I'm on the graduate committee, the ICMA. I'm on the welcoming committee.
You're a busy guy.
I try to give back.
Well, maybe we can set up, because you have a good relationship with Fred Clark now. They could do memberships for our high schoolers. I think because the kids don't realize they do a lot of on their social.
Yeah.
And I think having that interaction and talking to a person, it makes a big difference.
I agree.
Think it does.
And I think Fred knows that, and that's part of why, when we last spoke, I said, I think it'd be good for you, Fred. There's so much work that they're doing, BSU, and that they contribute to the community that people should know. And maybe they're not even aware of those opportunities either. So I think it's a good opportunity for Fred to come in and talk about that.
Yeah. Fred came I had him here because I go on the campus all the time when the kids are gone.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a gorgeous campus.
It is beautiful.
And I've attended, not the classes, but when they talked about, because they give the senior citizens a discount
Right.
on, and that opens the door and brings them together. And I think that's very important because sometimes seniors can be isolated.
I agree.
What I mean?
I agree.
So you started, that monthly updates under the town manager on your page for all the departments. I think that's really good. I mean, that will answer a lot of questions. You're very transparent.
Yeah.
So that's new.
Yeah, transparency is really important to me. I won't take credit for the operational updates. We've been doing that for a while. But, obviously when you've got a change of personnel, there's a change in mindset. And for me, I wanted to use it as a refresh. So moving forward, we'll probably change the structure of it a little bit. A piece of it, I want to do sort of a town manager newsletter aspect of it too. Because transparency is important to me, and trying to get more information to the community in various venues, including this wonderful podcast, social media. We have a relationship with a public relations firm that our departments have access to, and I think we need to use that. We need to get more information out to the community. It's important to me.
So I know it's going to be sitting there. It's a long time topic, but have you heard much about the old town hall?
I've heard a lot about the old town hall.
Yeah.
I have not gone into it just yet. It's on my list to do.
You need a mask, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, so I have to visit it. I do walk by it several times, as I've been in the Central Square a bit, but I haven't gone into it yet. I've heard a lot of comments about it.
Yeah, there is a lot. So we talked about Flag Street.
Yeah.
So can you, for the people who haven't watched the town council?
Yeah. So the Flag Street project, it's a little nuanced. And, initially this project was part of an overall capital improvement plan that was pretty extensive. It required a lot of funding associated with it. But it was a comprehensive plan that was going to focus on drainage issues, the roads, and the water lines. Unfortunately, we don't have that funding. But my predecessor made I believe, a prudent decision because of the sinkholes and the state of the road to work with DPW to make an emergency repair order. So what we focused on was the drainage of that road so we could address those sinkholes, protect people. And so we're doing that work. We addressed the drainage work. We're paving the road. We expect the top level coat of that work to be done here in the winter, and then coming back for the final pavement of that road in the spring next year.
Well, that's good because I've heard that freezes over in the winter, and it can be very dangerous. So I don't know, have you heard about our pickleball team and the membership? They're very passionate.
They're very passionate. I've heard of it. I've watched a Park and Recs Commission meeting one time, and I know they're very passionate about pickleball.
Yeah, so that might come up for you.
When I visited Courtney at the senior center, she made a point of saying how busy it is at moments of the day.
I don't know if they were working on their parking lot back there. I don't know if you heard about that. So they were working. I don't know if it's finished, but
They're working.
But Courtney's very nice. I met her. She's new too.
Yes.
And she's, I think, a great access for them.
She's a great leader. I'm enjoying working with her. She's got a lot of different ideas. She's got a great team.
Yeah, she's very energetic, and you can see the passion that she really enjoys her job.
Right.
So at the next town council, Mr. Rulli's going to be talking about the MBTA, so we're just going to skip over that because that's a lot.
I think we've addressed some. I mean, one of the things, like I said before, is trying to simplify it. There's a lot of nuances to the MBTA zoning and compliance there. I'm working with Bob and our team to try to, clarify and simplify this a bit for people. So, at our next council meeting, I hope to have some slides, some presentations. I'm also looking at bringing our consultant who helped us do this work come in and help explain a little bit better.
Okay, and one of the big things that people talk about is the Claremont, and I'm sure you've heard a lot about that, and you'll probably be addressing that and clearing it up for people to understand.
Yeah, I definitely need to dive in a little bit further. I know a lot of people are concerned about the lake, the NIP in Claremont, and obviously, like I said, in this role is about building relationships with people. So I definitely will be speaking with them and trying to learn more about that issue.
Yeah, I've been doing the same thing because it is pretty deep, and there's both sides, and you have to really understand a lot. So I do the same thing. some of the things that residents had brought up, EV chargers, because they're open to everybody. And I don't know if the ones at the new Mitchell School is open to everyone. So it's on the electric bill. I don't know if National Grid can separate our electric bill to the charging. Because, I mean, some people are concerned that their electric bill is high because of that.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So that's something that is on my radar as well. I think, one, I'll sort of use this as an opportunity to take a look at opportunities to add revenue to the community. I had a relationship with another company that has done a lot of work with different communities to add electric charging stations, and the community has an option to take 100% ownership of it so they can get the full revenue, or take a 50% ownership and they just get whatever additional revenue over expenses. So that's something I'm looking at. We're also looking at the chargers at Town Hall as well. I see it as a benefit that we've provided, but in lean budgets, we have to look for opportunities for revenue. So whether it's changing, the free charging, that's something we're exploring, or looking at adding more infrastructure where we do charge, that's something that we're looking at.
Yeah, because I've heard residents say instead of in that parking lot behind the garage having meters, we should have it in the center. That way we don't have people parking there all the time.
I agree. That's exactly what I was thinking. So we'll take a look at it. We're exploring that. If you don't mind, let me also address one little other aspect to the energy.
I mean, talk about whatever you want and what's on your heart.
Just the electricity aspect of it. I do want to take a moment to highlight the town is exploring a municipal aggregation program. I really think that's important. I've worked on these programs before, and it saves people money. And that's what we really care about. In these tough environmental times, it saves people money. There's no cost to the town. And oftentimes, it's just adding choices for residents. So I really want to take an opportunity to promote our municipal aggregation program. We haven't executed a contract yet because we want to time it at the right time where we get a good rate that actually saves people money. But I want people to be on the lookout for that. It's really important work that we're doing there.
Well, another issue that I'm just saying why we're not doing the TIF. That's coming up. We're going to do a lot of work on that. So we're going to leave that until we have the discussion and everyone has their input.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things that residents or councils have asked you that I haven't brought up that residents have? Anything that, or something that you think that the town would benefit from?
Yeah. Well, a couple of things. One, I wanted to double back on the roads a little bit because, as you said before, it was, for me, I think the three main issues that I heard the variety of times that I met with residents was the budget, water, and roads. And we touched base on Flag Street briefly. I do want to touch on roads a little bit. Roads are another important aspect of our community, and making sure we're funding them and the upkeep on that. Chapter 90 funds that we received are not enough to do that. So I think one of the things that I want to explore with the council is utilizing, some of the funds that we have in our capital stabilization to take a look at adding, supporting, augmenting the funds that we get in Chapter 90 to address the roads. So I want people to know I've heard them. I know the council's heard of them. We're working on plans. I think that's important to address so people know. Particularly with government, I know it's frustrating for people sometimes. Government moves slow. Yeah. But there's processes, there's procurement processes. There's a lot of things that go into them. It doesn't just happen overnight. Yeah. Luckily, in our form of government, it's not a town meeting form of government that we might have to wait to spring or fall to get something done, which I appreciate. But it does take time. It does take meticulous planning, and it takes execution. So I just want people to know we have heard them. We're listening to them. Another thing that I would like to bring up is the website survey that we're doing. Another thing that I heard was, and I experienced myself, I'm someone who's been in the profession, the field. I was on the website, and some things for me were difficult to find. Me too. So I could understand, for people, there was a little difficulty accessing our website. So we are transitioning our website. That was something that was done before I got here, but I want to make sure we execute correctly on it. So I do want people's impact on it. It's going to our IT director or chief information officers. And so we want your voice, and we will listen because it will impact some of the decisions we make.
Yeah, like at the last town council meeting, they brought up just not have the public hearings in the newspaper, but on the website.
Yeah, I thought that was a good idea.
Yeah, some of the residents, like when a meeting's coming up or something important, the DPW, the sign that they have up there with the red, they were kind of, because do we only have that one sign that's hitting next to, like if you enter Walgreens at that light. So they wanted somehow that we could advertise it more. Have you seen any of the cities that you worked in, how they advertise it more?
Yeah, it varies by communities. Some people really believe in the signboards. Some people believe in electric boards. It's hit or miss because some communities, if you mention an electric board that has information on it, it could cause an uproar.
Yeah.
For example, in Norfolk, that wasn't something that was very popular. But there's different opportunities to do some things there. I think even DPW, they have a weekly team meeting. And I was reading one of the reports on there, and it was a mention about looking to get some additional signboards to highlight the work that's going on with DPW. So I know our team is looking at different things like that already.
I don't know if we can put anything on the center, but like in Foxborough, they have a signboard on both sides.
Yeah.
So as you go around the Rotary,
Right.
it's in your face.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's something like that we could do. So what do you think? I've noticed that you talked about the columns in the library. They look pretty bad out front, right?
I'll be pretty frank. That's probably not what we want to be up there for too long. I also will frame it around. It comes around funding as well. But it's something that we've done a library assessment, because I think there's a lot more work that needs to be done at the library beyond the columns. But we've done a library assessment. We sort of have a list of things that we need to address there long term. And that's something that's on our radar, and we're looking for ways to address that.
Oh, okay.
I'm the facility manager on that.
So I knew we had assessment, and I thought we had gotten some grants, but I know that people talk about that a lot. So you went around and met all the stores and the owners.
Not all of them. I won't say all of them. I've taken an opportunity. I've been walking a lot in the Central Square area, so I'm sure people have seen me out there.
I've seen you, yeah.
But I've met with some of them. Over time, you build those relationships. So over time, hopefully, I do get to meet all of them. But I haven't met with all of them just yet.
Well, we got quite a few little ones. So what was the number one thing that that they looked that Bridgewater could help them more?
I think largely the first thing was focus on the crosswalks area, because that's generally the premise that I was meeting them on as well. Just finding ways to make people safer. But also when you look at parking, for example, there's difficulties with the parking there. But parking's vital to some of these businesses. So we've often heard about the parking management. Is it a parking space issue or is it a management issue? So parking's important. Crosswalks are important. I think what's important for our small business, but overall the community, is to know that, hey, we're listening. And we're trying to bring and deliver results.
I think that's a huge thing for that. You actually go out and meet them all, because parking is very dangerous. I mean, I don't know how you could fix it really.
It's a difficult issue, and it's something that a lot of people or professionals that have studied this issue. I know Vision Reality, the work that's going on there. It's a difficult issue, and once again, I think this is the thing that people are going to hear often is it's a funding issue as well.
Yeah.
What I think is really important. And I've stressed this to our team, and I know my team is very serious about it. We've been very fortunate, and we've worked hard to try to get as many grants as possible.
I know you're good at that,
and so we need to augment the funds that we have available to us with those grants. But without those grants, without the funding, there's a limited capability to deliver on some of these things. Yeah. So I think over time, that's why this budget process next year is going to be really important, and being transparent with the community, showing opportunities that we have, but the challenges we have. Because a lot of the issues that we're facing, we cannot address them without funding.
Yeah. Yeah, you talked about all the funding and the mass one stop and all that. Yeah. So there was one other question. I can't remember. It went right out of my mind.
Maybe I've answered all the questions for you.
You might have answered all the questions. Yeah, there's a lot. Oh, I know what it was. It was something that's coming up, and I can't remember what it is. But
you know what that means? You're going to have to come have me back.
I will. I don't want to keep you too long, and I appreciate it. This is your first podcast.
It is.
Wasn't bad.
It was great. I enjoyed it. I will be back.
Okay. I know, because you're doing so much, and you're thinking about starting your own podcast.
That's something that I thought would be nice. Once again, bandwidth and the capability to do that. I have a lot of ideas, and I think the more we can be transparent about government operations and what our team is doing, because our team is doing a lot of hard work, and we've got a lot of talented people in the organization. That's what I've seen when I've gotten here. So I think if having a podcast to say, hey, this is what we're doing, this is what we're working on, there might be an opportunity to do that in the future. Or you know what? Let's have them come on with your podcast. Why break something that's working? Well,
I think they would enjoy having you come on, because you can go into deeper stuff. You know what I mean? And I think the number one, because I'm not a full-time, lifetime resident here, but the number one thing that I've heard was not transparent. They don't know what's going on. Their questions are being answered. And I think you doing that and digging in and having the committees, I think it's going to make a huge difference. I can already see a difference in the employees' morale. You know what I mean? I think they feel like they're appreciated and listened to. So you're doing a good job.
Thank you.
And you definitely should, not hide from the podcast. I think that would be, the more podcasts, the better. I might go into a different direction now if you're going to be taking over the town.
All right.
So thank you very much for coming on. Anytime you want to come on before you start your podcast, just let me know.
Thank you, Mary. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
you.